Hello, and welcome to the Circling South Sports podcast. This is the 16th installment of the Seattle interview series. Today, with me, I have Cosette Morche. I want to thank you for coming on. Obviously, we're getting close to the start of the Challenge Cup here. How are things for you? What have you been up to? I know I kind of asked you about it before we started, but what's been going on in your life lately?
Yeah, so obviously I've been playing soccer all the time, but my roommate Allie and I just been hanging out. I actually have two new kittens, so we've been pretty busy with them. But we were able to go on a little road trip, and we took them to Portland for the weekend because we had off this weekend, and our first game is next this Friday. So yeah, we were able to go to Portland and just have a nice chill off weekend with the kittens. So yeah.
I did want to ask about them and your roommate actually, but that'll be later on here.
Okay.
I want to start off sort of early on. Where would you say that your passion for the game of soccer started? Do you have any sort of idea where that first sort of took place or took root within you that you wanted to continue to play this game, to a professional level?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was 4. So soccer has just always been a part of my life. I knew I wanted to play in college. I actually played volleyball too, so it was between soccer and volleyball. But I did choose soccer, and I'm really glad I did. I would say probably my sophomore year of college is when my passion really like went through the roof, and I knew I wanted to continue soccer at a professional level.
Was there anything in your mind that told you that maybe you would have wanted to go down that volleyball route, or was it just sort of clear cut, hey, this is what I want to do instead? And do you think you would have played volleyball in college?
Yeah, so I actually, my freshman year of high school, I ended up quitting soccer for a year, and that was huge. And I ended up just playing volleyball, and I really thought at that point I would play volleyball throughout college, and maybe I could have made a professional career out of that, and who knows. But um, I feel like I missed soccer a lot, and after that year, I came back and started playing soccer again, and you know I think the fact that I missed it so much showed that that was the sport for me. But I definitely could have played volleyball in college, but I'm glad I stuck with soccer.
So to take that to college, how did you end up at the University of Louisiana, those first few years, and what kind of led up to that, whether it was recruiting or just what made you want to go there?
Yeah, so um, growing up, like in club soccer, we went to a lot of showcases, and colleges would come and scout us, and they just showed a lot of interest in me, and it felt nice to be wanted and appreciated. And they were actually the first D1 school to offer me a full ride, and I was like, you know what, I'd love to have my school paid for and not have to worry about that. So I kind of jumped the gun and just went to Louisiana Lafayette. I definitely like could have waited, but I think that at that time in my club career, I just wanted to feel secure and know that I'd be going to college and not have to worry about paying. So, I mean, yeah, I went there. It was a smaller D1 school um, than a lot of like the other big top schools, and I think that it was actually a good step because I was able to play my first 2 years and be a starter as a freshman. So that definitely helped me.
So then what factors into you transferring to Texas A&M? How does that sort of go down? Because you did say that you jumped the gun. So how did, what says, hey, I don't necessarily want to be here, or Texas A&M is somewhere where I'd rather be at in terms of, whatever aspect it was?
So whenever I was at Louisiana Lafayette, I was getting a lot of playing time. I just felt at my sophomore year, I was like, I really want to go, really try to go professional one day. I need to put myself in the best position possible to even make that happen. So I thought that the best would be to kind of put myself in an uncomfortable position and just kind of test where I could end up. And I transferred. I went to the transfer portal. I went on 3 official visits in 2 weeks. Was flying all over the place, and I went to Texas A&M, and I loved it. And it just ended up working out, and I ended up starting the whole time I was there too. And I think when I got there, the level was so much higher that it really got me excited, because that's the whole reason why I wanted to transfer, was to, push myself and push my level and see how good I could get. So yeah, that's the main reason why I transferred, was just to be at a really top level.
So then how do you end up meeting Allie Watt, and how has your friendship grown since then? Obviously, being teammates now, that's so cool to see, but how does that first start off? How do you meet her, and how does that all go down?
Yeah, so we're about the same age, and she was at A&M when I got there, and I met her, and she's the best. Love her. But we got super close in college. We were together for 2 seasons, and then we just stayed in touch, and um, we've been really close friends since college. And then the fact that we ended up here at OL Reign together was insane. She literally like called me up before it was released. She was like, "Hey, it's about to be announced, but I just had to tell you, like, we're gonna be teammates again." And I freaked out. And then of course we're roommates now, so that's even better. It was really nice to be able to have an old teammate come here, and just easy transition to come to Tacoma.
So then obviously, with transferring, how would you say that your college experience was as a whole? Because I mean, I'm sure that may not have been how you thought things would go down, obviously, but in general, how would you say things went for you? Would you have changed them, and maybe gone all 4 years to Texas A&M, or would you say that was just part of the journey?
I would say it was definitely part of the journey. I would have loved to be at A&M for 4 years. I think it's an amazing school and program. But Louisiana Lafayette, like, it built me up to be able to go to A&M. Like, that, those games, getting playing time, like all of that kind of was just a part of me being able to transfer. Because if I didn't get that playing time, I would have maybe not been able to transfer there to A&M. So I think that it definitely was a part of the journey. I don't regret any of that. Like, I'm really happy that I was able to be at both colleges.
So from that point, how would you say your time in Sweden was? Because that's a whole different thing. How would, not just necessarily maybe, obviously on the pitch, but how are things as a whole over there? How did you enjoy your time over there in Sweden?
Yeah, so when I first went over there, it was summer of 2019, and I was taking my last course in college, and
Oh.
I got there, and I think it was a really long flight. So I got in, and the time changed everything. I was just really messed up.
Hmm.
Like, so I slept for the first day I was there. But like, after that, I really enjoyed just being somewhere new, and the cultural differences, and the language barrier was pretty hard sometimes, but a lot of Swedes know English, so that was great. But yeah, my time there, like, I definitely learned a lot. It definitely helped me grow, and got me to the point where I felt like I was at a point in my career where I could come back to the States and play. So I think that was a very important part of my career, to be able to be where I am right now. But I really enjoyed the soccer aspect of it. My teammates were awesome. It was definitely mentally challenging, just being away from home for a long time. I think the longest span that I was there was 8 months. So that was pretty hard, but I would like to think that I'm pretty strong mentally, so I got through it. But yeah, it was very tough, but a really amazing experience, and I'm really glad I did it.
Would you say that there's any key differences when, comparing playing overseas in Sweden to comparing it here to the US? Because when I spoke with Amber Brooks, she said that it was important that, when these players are early in their career, it's important to probably go and do that earlier in the career as
Mhm.
opposed to, later on. Because I don't remember 100% what it was, but it was more so you kind of got things, you're a little bit more tied down later in the career, I guess. So is there any sort of key differences that you noticed, playing over in Sweden as compared to playing back here in the US?
Yeah, I think when I first have it being my first season professionally when I was in Sweden, it was definitely um I could see like a quicker pace. Like, I used my feet a lot as a goalkeeper. Like, nowadays in the professional level, like, you have to be with your feet. That's just important. So when I was in Sweden, like we worked on that every day, like super important. And that just set me up to be able to come back to the US, because that's like, here we're always using our feet, playing within the back line, like trying to hit long balls, like placement, everything. So I think that in Sweden definitely got me to the point of the level here. But I do think the level here it's different, but it's, I think, a stronger level.
Is
For
there
sure.
anything in particular that you remember from your time in Sweden, whether it be on or off the pitch? Is there anything that kind of stays with you when you think back to that time?
Yeah, on like soccer wise
It could be
or
both.
either. Soccer wise, I would say whenever we did training, my goalkeeper coach, he didn't know English very well, but he knew like a couple phrases, but we always had a good laugh like every day. It was a lot of fun. We worked really hard. And I just remember like working on distribution out of the back and placement on the ball. Like I felt it just made me so much more confident, like training that almost every day. And I think that was a really fun point in my soccer career, to where I saw like what I can do, and it made me excited for the future and how much more I can grow. So that was a big part that I remember on the field. And off the field, definitely the team. We had a little like bus party on their last game, and it was a 7-hour trip, and we just partied the entire
Oh.
time. So that was really fun.
So with all that being said, would you want to go back to Sweden at some, well, not necessarily like for your career, but just to visit at some point? Would you want to go back?
Yeah, I'd love to see my teammates again. And I went to go visit because I was in Eskilstuna, which is a smaller city, like about an hour and a half away from Stockholm. And I only got to go to Stockholm a couple times. So when I went, it was absolutely amazing. And I know there's so many different places in Sweden that I wish I could have traveled to more, but we just went for soccer, so we didn't really get to enjoy the aspect of being there. So I definitely would love to go back with a couple of my teammates. That'd be fun.
So if I read this correctly about how you were first informed about coming to the Reign, how unique was that to have that be how it was communicated to you via DM? If I read that correctly, how they followed you and you thought maybe it was a fake account or something. If I'm reading that correctly, I could have read the report wrong.
Yeah.
But how, because that's something I don't think I've ever heard. How unique was that to sort of hear that?
Yeah. So at that point in time, I was looking to try to come back to the States, if not like see what my next step would be in my career. And I think I was kind of stressed and anxious about, where I'd end up. And I was just on FaceTime with my family, and out of nowhere, I get a notification on Instagram saying that I got a message from OL Rain. And I was just like, okay, it's probably just some fan page, like whatever. And then I ended up reading it, and I was like, oh, it's actually like they followed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually like their account. So I got really like excited, and I was like, oh my gosh. I started talking to my family. I was like, oh, I'm like, and I started crying, and I was just super, super excited because, being back in the States is just, playing in front of your family and friends, just awesome. So yeah, that was a very exciting like experience. I did not expect that, but it was definitely nice.
With that being said, I know that there are plans and talks to give the Reign their own facility, and I know that I believe it was Pepperdine has been designated for the new training field. But what are your thoughts on your current stadium at Cheney Stadium? How has that been to play there, and just what are your thoughts overall on the stadium as a whole?
Yeah, I'm really excited for season to start and to see all the fans there and just see how it's set up. But training there has been really nice. The field's awesome. It's kind of fun being in the baseball stadium, and it's kind of like it's weird, but in an interesting way. We have like the little like batting cage area where we just go and do warm up. Like we kind of warm up before we head out to training, and I don't know. It's a cool atmosphere. I like it a lot. I mean, it's different, so.
Yeah, it's I remember seeing that, just how well when it moved, when the team moved down there, and I was like, ah, shoot, because it's nice to have it, just be so close, at Memorial. When the team was here, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to see, and reading about how the team secured Pepperdine for training is cool, but really interested to see because I know I read that there were some sites that they were scouting for a new facility, but that'll be exciting to see, and it does look like the Ola group is pretty keen on continuing to work on that guarantee that they're gonna really invest in this organization. I forgot the word there.
Yeah.
Um, but as a whole, what do you think of the Pacific Northwest? Because if I'm correct, you moved. This is West Coast now. What has that been like for you, and just the areas in general?
I think it's beautiful here. When I'm with Allie and we're driving just around town, and I'll see the mountains and the water next to each other. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, look, Allie. And she's like, yeah, that's normal. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I like get so excited when I see these things because I mean, I've seen some beautiful places before, but just being up here, I don't know, it's different. Like I get excited like going sightseeing. Like we went and saw waterfalls, and it's just awesome. Whenever I was younger, my sister actually she plays soccer too, and she had nationals in Seattle. And so we took a trip up the coast and just went and did sightseeing and just drove up the coast, and it was so pretty. So I mean, I knew when I came up here it would be beautiful. So
So, with that being said, I want to shift away a little bit. What's the relationship like between the other goalkeepers? Because obviously, Karen Bardsley, Ella Dieterich, could be wrong in pronouncing that, and then the newer signing with Fallon Tullis Joyce. Four goalkeepers on the roster is an interesting thing, at least to me. I could be wrong. What's the relationship, like between you and the other goalkeepers? How is that, group? Whether is it like a really friendly group or is it just sort of business? How does that group interact?
definitely friendly. We all get along really well, and I think we have a really good dynamic. We all stay really positive and want to help each other, just be the best we can be. I've been in some negative goalkeeper like situations, and it's just
Hmm.
not fun. It's not a good environment to be around. And I feel like we do a really good job of keeping it positive and just being there for each other. And yeah, it's a great group of girls, and I enjoy training with them.
It's definitely sort of cool to see, I guess, from a fan aspect when you've got four talented goalkeepers, but it's good to just know that it's like you said, having not necessarily a positive goalkeeper situation. It's good to see that it's just wanting to get better as a whole. That's always good to see. Um,
Yeah.
do you have a first impression or first sort of memory of Megan Rapinoe?
My first impression. Let's see. I think she's super nice. That's my impression. She's like, I don't know. I feel like she's such a big name, so people get intimidated by that. But she was super friendly right off the bat, and yeah, nothing like everything good to say about her. She's super nice.
Would you say that it could be a roommate, but would you say that you have a funniest current teammate on the roster right now?
I think Ella's pretty funny. I don't know. There's a lot of funny girls on the team, but I feel like I spend a lot of time with Ella since we're both goalkeepers. So I see a lot of funny different sides of her. So
In talking with both Bethany and Amber, they couldn't pick out just someone. So it's like I don't know if there is a sort of like someone who you could designate. So I'm always curious to see about that. And
yeah, I
speaking
think
about
everyone's pretty funny.
teammates, how do you feel about having two other Aggies on the team currently? How is that? Is that sort of pretty cool just to have that share an alumni, or um, does it obviously help, like you kind of mentioned with Ali? Does it help sort of make it a more comfortable situation because obviously it's sort of a newer situation with the team. Um, but how does it feel to you to have those two other Aggies on the team with you?
Definitely coming into preseason and having Allie here made it a really smooth transition. I felt like having her definitely made it feel like home right away. Um, and Jimenez isn't coming yet. but hopefully she'll be here soon. We'll see. But it'd be really great to have her too. It's definitely fun to have Aggies here and have that school spirit. So
So what do you think overall about the organization and its efforts, being partnered with the Black Future Co-op and just what it's done as a whole? Because at least from what I remember, especially last year with everything that happened last year, it seems like the storm and the rain kind of do a really good job at being first to sort of get on top of these things and address them and make sure that, it's known that, well, not necessarily known, but they're supporting these things, whether it's, these issues with social justice or, helping out in the community. What do you think about the organization having its foot in these things and doing their part? From a player standpoint, how important would that be to you?
yeah, I think it's super important. I think it's amazing that they're doing that. That we have. I just think they're really supportive of us players, and they really care about all of these situations. I think that it's good to be a part of and to not just hide from it and actually stand up for it. And I think that I'm proud to be on this team with how they're dealing with everything.
Obviously with, the social justice side of it, but also in more recent news, with the club's commitment to sustainability. That was pretty cool to see the Lou Barnes and that partnership. I also know that uh, Miss Spencer, I believe, has a sustainable clothing line. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on that? Because I remember seeing the reaction to the kits, and that was pretty cool. But just even reading about what else the club has been doing, I know that the new kits are supposed to be sustainable as well, and I'm excited to see those, but I have to be patient. Do
Coming
you have
soon.
any, pardon me?
I said it's coming soon.
Oh, shoot. So I'll hold off on that. But what are your thoughts on the club's sustainability, and their commitment to sustainability?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I I eat vegan a lot, and I'm just really into like environmental stuff, and I think it's great that Lou and Danny wanted to be a part of that and brought it to our team, because I don't know how I would start it. So the fact that they did for us, like, I think that's amazing, and I'm super happy that they're doing that. And to have that goodie bag of all that stuff, like, I'm so excited to use all of it.
So, with that being touched on, have you personally been able to see those kits yet, or is it sort of a mystery to you at this point?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, because now I'm like, because my family had a couple of the when there was Seattle and it was the older logo, so I
Mhm.
have to update it, and I'm like, oh shoot, there's new kits coming out, so I'll just
Yeah,
have to be patient.
yeah,
Um,
be patient. They're worth the wait.
it's exciting because I know that the Storm are gonna release those are for sale on, oh, it's Tuesday. No, it's Monday. Oopsie. Those are out on the 14th, and then there's new kits coming for the rain. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to spend a little bit of money.
Yeah, they're all coming out at the same time, around the same time.
Um, so it'll be pretty interesting to see, and just it's exciting. I think it is exciting.
Mhm.
But to get back to on the field, is there any aspect of your game that you're currently working on? I know you mentioned, the usage of feet being so important just in the game of soccer as a whole, but is there anything that you're currently working on, or is it just sort of training to be better as a whole every day?
I think definitely training to be better as a whole. Every day, like, we work on pretty much everything, and I know as a goalkeeper and as a player in general, like, there's always something to improve on. Even if you're really good at it, like, you just continue to improve and get better and better. I would say maybe me, like, working on um, quick decision making, playing out of the back. Uh, that's something that's huge as a goalkeeper, and I've been getting better and better, and I'm excited to see my growth. So hopefully I'll continue to improve.
Is there anything that you would say that you're most excited for in this upcoming season in 2021? Is there anything that sort of sticks out to you that you're most excited to get back to or have back in terms of maybe fans?
Well, definitely the fans. It's so fun to play in front of fans. Yeah, I'm also really excited to just be a part of the team and take this journey with them and win. So it'll be fun just to travel with the girls and work really hard and just hopefully be at the top at the end of the season.
It's definitely, you know, I'm trying to get out to the game on the 27th. I know I can't make the 16th because of work, but it'll be really cool, like I said, to just, you know, have that back, in relation to what happened last year, not being able to have that, obviously. And I know that must have been so bizarre to, have so many people play in front of empty stadiums. I can only imagine. Um, but just excited to get back. So from here, I want to go just to more stuff that may not be directly soccer related. How did you end up with the kittens? How did that come to be? What said, hey, I want kittens? How did that end, all fall into place?
So I grew up with a bunch of cats and I love them so much. And I've just been away from home, obviously, like in college and my professional career, I've just been gone and I haven't been around cats at all. And I was like, I'm not going to get kittens until I'm ready, until I'm actually at a place where I can, settle for a while. And I just like thought maybe today or maybe this year was the right year. And then I brought it up to Allie and she was like, yeah, you should totally get them. And she was super excited. As long as I had to take care of them and she could just play with them. But yeah, so then I tried to find cats for like a month or to 2 months. It was just taking forever because it's not kitten season. And whenever I found them, literally they were like, oh, you can come pick them up in 2 hours. And I was like, oh my gosh, I already had everything because I knew I was going to get them. So I really picked them up and drove them back and they were only 6 weeks old.
Oh, geez.
Super tiny. Yeah, now they're definitely bigger. But yeah, I've always been my family's been a cat family for so long. And I just thought it was about time that I get my own.
Yeah, mine as well. That's kind of always how it was. My dad growing up always had cats. I know I don't even remember how many, but I thought that was cool. And the cat backpack is always, I don't know if it's a cat designated backpack, but that's always really cool to see. And obviously you mentioned Portland. Is there anywhere in particular that you would want to visit with them both? Is that something that you want to do more, is cat road trip, or is that something that's just kind of like for the moment thing?
It was kind of we were visiting Allie's boyfriend and he was like, bring the cats because they're so awesome. Like everyone loves them. And I was like, fine, I'll bring them. I wasn't planning on it, but I just, I was like, why not? We'll just take a little road trip. But I don't think I'd take them on many road trips unless they needed to like come with me because I have a lot of great teammates that can watch them. So
I'm sure that there's more than, a few volunteers for that.
Yeah, I feel like everyone would be excited to see them.
How was your experience with West Coast goalkeepers been? How did that sort of come into play? Whether it was maybe you reaching out to them or them reaching out to you, and how has that been? And would you think about perhaps designing your own pair of gloves? Because I know Stephen Fry, I think he designs his own. So how has that experience with them been? And would you want to design your own?
I would definitely love to design my own, but my parents have their own apparel printing company, Morche Designs, and they they worked with soccer programs, and I think it was a couple of years ago, but they ended up selling West Coast gloves. When I was younger, when I was in high school, they would just sell them for them in Georgia, where I'm from. And then my dad was like, oh, maybe you can try some of their gloves. And I was like, okay. So I would try a couple of their gloves when I was younger, but I never thought like I'd sign with them. I didn't know I was going to go pro. But yeah, when I was in Sweden, they contacted me and they're like, hey, like maybe we can sign you like next year. And like, I don't know, they just talked to me. I was wearing their gloves in Sweden, and then they're like, yeah, we'll sign you, and ended up signing me this year. And they're awesome. Like I'm super glad to be a part of the West Coast family. I have so many gloves and I'm just super happy because it's hard not having a lot of gloves, especially when you train every day.
Oh yeah. That was definitely cool to see because I've only heard of them a little bit, but just to see that was part of it. And yeah, I definitely think that having a surplus of those would definitely be needed, especially when you're playing at that level. Would that be something that you would say that makes you kind of realize that, hey, I'm at a pro level now? Is there anything that you kind of take a step back and realize, hey, I'm actually doing this? Or is it just kind of trying to take things a day at a time and just working at it?
Yeah, I think definitely when I signed with West Coast Goalkeeping, like it definitely made me feel like I was a professional, like I was just getting gear, and they wanted me to wear their gear, and that made me, proud and happy to be a part of it. I think definitely like day by day, like it kind of, I get reminded like, oh, you're professional, you're professional. But yeah, that definitely helped me feel like I was professional.
So this is a question that I've asked both Amber and Bethany, but in your eyes personally, what steps do you think need to take place for, from members of the media or just, everyday human beings in the general public to continue to grow women's sports? Because, at least obviously from a man's standpoint, when I see ESPN or Sports Center, Bleacher Report, or House of Highlights, there's
Mhm.
so little content from women's sports, whether it was,
Yeah.
and even here in Seattle, I don't remember the distinct news group, but someone had a 2020 year in review, right? And they completely failed to mention that the Storm had won the title. No mention whatsoever. And just, I know that ESPN like had NWSL on for the first time ever, like last year. So with me throwing all that information at you, um, what steps would you say need to be taken, from members of media? Obviously, in a way, I'm media, but um, what
Yeah.
steps do you think need to be taken to continue to grow women's sports and just actually give the right, representation that should be there but hasn't been?
I think just, continue to support us. Follow honestly, people should just follow all of the clubs on social media. All of us women, like, just repost everything, buy our jerseys, put us out there for people to see, because there are people who don't know much about women's sports, and they need to be educated about us and be involved. And we work really hard, and we want that recognition. We want people to see that we work hard, and to be there for us, and to have people support us, like, really means a lot to us. So if we see people supporting us, like, it makes us motivated, because we are also like trying to get people to support us, and when we see other people helping us outside of our sport, or just men helping support us, I think that that's huge. And I think just to continue to do that, I mean, eventually something will happen.
I just, I remember seeing that because I do a weekly show every Tuesday, right? And I remember in like collecting notes for the week that there was that sort of thing, 2020 in review, and it's like, how do you not mention the team that won a title, at a pro level? How does that go unspoken? And just, um, as I continue on, obviously having adding the rain to my list of teams that's been covered, just to see this and just trying to do my best to support, and I will have to add a couple jerseys. It's difficult because I've spoken with you and Bethany and Amber. I'm like, do I just buy
Yeah.
three or So
Yeah.
and I have to get at least a hoodie because I wear a ton of hoodies, and um,
Mm.
so it's like, oh shoot, but I'll have to stock up. But it's always important for me to hear from these women
Hmm.
in sports because I want to learn first from those who are in that position,
Yeah.
because I'm not in that position. Why would I go and necessarily do something if I'm not been informed by someone that's in that position yet? So I
Well,
always want to learn
I
from them.
appreciate you talking to us, and getting um, our stories and everything out there. Like, it's nice to see, or to have people want to listen to us and want to support us. So,
That's why I'm here. That's why I have all the. It's not just I'm not just asking you about this week and this upcoming game. I want to go through the whole thing to sort of get that story out there. That's why it's important, like you said, with some people not even knowing that the NWSL exists. That's why I want to, have those stories told so people maybe have, oh, it's like, oh, she's got two cats. I like cats, or however that may go, So that's a lot of my goal is to tell these stories, or not necessarily tell these stories, but broadcast these stories, I guess you could say. So I appreciate having you on again. It's time out of your day,
Yeah.
as a
Well, thank
professional.
you for having me.
That's why I'm here. Now this is new. I haven't had a set name for it, but I was sitting there the other day and it rhymed, so it sounded good, I guess. This is my Puget Sound lightning round. It's just quicker questions, just sort of like, those little things at the stadium where they ask a certain player all these little questions about stuff, entertainment
Mm.
wise, I guess. I know you spoke about liking the scenes around here, but do you have a favorite Pacific Northwest scenic site? Is there one that you could nail down and say is a favorite?
Um, Probably the Redwoods. Isn't it like a national park, the Redwood National Park?
Oh, I think that's in Cali. I could be completely wrong. Oh, maybe Oregon.
Or Sequoia? I don't know. I like everything, to be honest.
Um,
I haven't been over here long enough to like see everything, but I might need to pass on that one because I don't know a lot of names.
it's one of them. Mine is always seeing Mount Rainier out. It's pretty hard to beat a sunny day when you can see the mountain.
Yeah. Well,
So that's
it's
never
been
bad.
really beautiful the past week, so I've been able to see that mountain a lot, and it's been nice.
Um, I might know the answer to this, but do you have a favorite sport outside of soccer, just maybe to watch or to play?
Volleyball. But then after that would be basketball, probably.
Okay, all right. Um, do you have a favorite Seattle athlete?
My roommate. um, no, I would just say Ali Watt.
Do you
I know
have
she's
a?
in Tacoma, but
I mean, it counts. I count it. I think it's fair enough to count it. Do you have a favorite pair of cleats to play in?
I love the Phantoms. Not the new Phantoms, but the version before that. Those are my favorite. But I do wear Tiempo sometimes, so a little stuck in the middle there. I don't know which one.
I always played sweeper, so I had tiempos, so I might be biased. Um, I know you mentioned not necessarily having enough time here, but do you have a favorite food place around here or something that's kind of been a go-to for you in your time here?
Sushi, Mio sushi. Any sushi place, honestly.
Is there a game day item that you cannot go without? There's one item that you absolutely need on a game day.
An item. Well, I have to like braid my hair every game day. Is that considered
I
that
would count
item?
that. Yeah, I would count that.
Okay.
Is there any reason for that, or is it just a superstition of sorts?
I think it's more of a mentality of when my hair is braided, it's like time to be badass and get on the field. Yeah.
I would say that counts. Do you have a secret talent or one that many people might not know?
Oh gosh. Do I? Okay. Am I like I hyperextend like everywhere, like my knees and fingers and stuff, and I have really like stretchy skin, so my nose can like
Oh, wow.
can like fold because it's all cartilage. But yeah, very flexible, I guess.
Oh, geez, hyperextend. Oh, God. Okay. I mean, that works.
It helps.
Um, do you have a go-to game day meal?
It's a good question. Honestly, like if depending when the game is, it would be like avocado toast. I think that's a pretty good one with some sriracha to make it spicy.
Yeah, I definitely remember. I think I asked Amber then. She's like, "Well, it depends on the game," and I'm like, "Yeah, there's definitely certain things you probably wouldn't have before something closer to the middle of the day." Um, and if you could have one conversation with any athlete from any time period, alive or not, do you have a person that you absolutely want to speak to? Uh, and if you do, who would it be and why?
Tim Howard, because I've looked up to him. Like, he's been my idol since I was really young. So I would definitely ask him a few tips and stuff. Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to sort of promote or put out there? Whether it be, obviously watching the game. I know, I believe they're on Paramount Plus, which everybody's got a streaming service now, but if I get to watch games on there, I'll watch games on there. Or is there anything that you just want to put out there?
Just support us this season. We have a really good team, and we're really excited to be playing in front of fans again. I think we're going to have an amazing season. So, yeah.
First game is on April 16th. I know that the next home game is on the 27th of April. I just want to, again, thank you for having me on and all of your, insight on, from playing early on to college to playing in Sweden and now obviously here at the Reign. Really excited to just see the season unfold and excited to just be back in stadiums, I guess. It's hard watching everything from the room, I guess. Well, and I'm sure it's harder for you as a player to not necessarily have those people there. So I want to thank you for having me on and just excited to see how the season goes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We're super excited for the season and our fans.
Boo boo.